So you need decoy. You just got bamboozled. What's up, guys? Welcome back to a new video today. Today we are doing the Apex Legends tier list, like the legend tier list. No weapons, no maps, no battle royale maps, no modes. It's just the legends in the battle royale mode. You know, like the main mode of Apex Legends. This is actually the first YouTube video that I've done with a script. It's not really like full script telling me like word for word what I need to read. It's just a tier list. So like I have F tier, D tier, C tier, A tier, B tier, S tier, A tier. I totally said those out of order. Gosh dang it. But anyways, I got the tier list right here, and let's begin. Why don't we? Yeah, let's just start with the ground rules. First off, I'm not basing these on like what maps they're better on. Like right now, the main map is Olympus. I'm pretty sure. I think Storm Point has returned. So I'm not basing off the maps. I'm just basing them on like each individual map, and I'm just basing them on Battle Royale, not arenas or Control. And I know Control is an LTM, but it's totally gonna be a permanent mode, because if I was basing this on Control, then like probably my favorite legend I used are like Seer. Seer is like super OP in Control. Really, but I'll explain that later. Just spoiler warning, Seer is not an S tier, so yeah, you can say that. So anyways, let's begin. Let's start with yeah, F tier. Now, fun fact, I'm just gonna go through this really fast. There are no legends in F tier. F tier are for legends that are just complete unusable unusable garbage, and you should not pick them, and they should not be your main. No legends are like that. I think Apex Legends is a very balanced game, and I really like games that are balanced like that, and I really like how Apex Legends is like this, and I really like this game just because of the balancing. But like I said, we shouldn't spend too much time on it, so let's move on to D tier.
We do have D tier. D tier are reserved for legends that are usable in niche scenarios that are very few and far between, and most likely you will not win. But you can win when using them, which is why none of them are in F tier. Starting off D tier, we have Mirage. Obviously.
Mirage has never been that good of a legend, even at the very beginning of Apex. Probably his best point was at the beginning of Season 5, which is when he got his big rework, which is was kind of overhyped. His decoys are very easy to know, and even if you shoot a decoy, like the worst that's going to happen is that you'll get scanned, but it's not like a Bloodhound scan, which is so much better, which is what they should change it to and make a Mirage a lot better player. It's just like an icon that you can't really see in your field of view. Well, you can. It's just that it's kind of hard to like know where it is in the space, you know? His ultimate ability is better, but it's like really disorienting when you use it, but it's still kind of weak. I mean, you can tell what is a decoy and what is not. And probably his best ability is his passive, which allows him to revive invisible, and I think respawn teammates invisible and go invisible when knocked, which is okay, which is definitely good, but there are a lot of other legends with even better revived abilities than going invisible. And it is good invisibility, like you're like pure invisible, I'm pretty sure, but it's not like useful, it's not fast, it's normal. They're just legends with better revive abilities than Mirage. Mirage has always been the worst in Apex Legends. I really hope they buff him, because I do like the legend. I do like to use him, but he's the worst, and there's not really changing that anytime soon, you know?
And that is the only legend in D tier. Poor Mirage, am I right? Next up, we have C tier. C tier are legends that are usable in more scenarios than D tier, aka Mirage, but are still outclassed by legends that are above them and need some buffs. Starting off C tier, we have Fuse.
So Fuse is not a bad legend by any means. C tier is still good legends. Like I said, this game is very balanced. Even Mirage, you can definitely win with him. But Fuse is could use some buffs. I think his tactical ability is really good, especially for breaking doors and getting some quick damages on the enemy team. And off of drop, Fuse is also very scary because every single legend comes with their tactical ability as soon as you land. So as soon as you find an enemy, you just throw his tactical, his knuckle cluster, and get some good damages on him, and maybe punch him for the kill. He can yeet grenades and arc stars further. Grenades, arc stars, thermites, all those stuff. But I don't like passive abilities that are reliant on items or weapons. It's just not that good. Healing is different, but still, it's not that good for items or weapons. His ultimate ability, Mother Load, is definitely good on trying to get a team that's trying to run away, but is quite inaccurate and kind of lacking compared to other legends. I feel like his Knuckle Cluster, his tactical ability, is more of a more powerful grenade than a tactical ability, and there are definitely better legends than Fuse. But that's not to say Fuse isn't fun. Fuse is definitely a lot of fun, and you can definitely get some kills with him. A good way of buffing, I'd say, is to make him immune to his explosives. Not others' explosives, but definitely his own. I still think Fuse is a good legend. You should try him, but he can be a bit better, I'd say.
Next is Bangalore.
Oh! Dude, 30 damage of...
So while I definitely think Bangalore is not deserving of D tier, I do think there are better legends than her. Once again, even though she is this low on the list, she's an extremely fun legend to use. She's another offensive legend, and not all offensive legends are bad, and I also really like offensive legends. It's just that her smokes are very disorienting to even your teammate players. You can combat this with Bloodhound scan, but maybe your teammates might not pick Bloodhound. On her own, she's not the best. Her ultimate ability is pretty good, but there are faster abilities that have the same result, like Gibraltar's ultimate or even Valkyrie's tactical ability. And Bangalore, I just feel like is outclassed by a lot of legends. Also, Caustic's gas traps do damage, and they are smaller, but they still do damage, so yeah. But that's not to say that she is all bad. Her passive ability, in my opinion, is one of the best in the game. Basically, if she gets shot at, she gets a speed boost for about like 2 seconds. Well, that may sound bad. 2 seconds is actually a lot longer than you may think. But with all that, her smokes are still disorienting. You can fire too, and they do deal damage, but they are like so disorienting. You can like see nothing. You see so little. Her ultimate is very slow. I've like barely had damage with it. I was able to escape it quite a while, and she's had little to nothing done to her in the past 2 seasons, so she needs to be buffed. But Bangalore is still a very fun legend to use, even though she is C tier. So you can use her.
Next up for C tier, we have Watson.
So Watson is probably my least favorite legend in all of Apex Legends. It's not that I think that she's bad, it's just that I don't find her very fun to use. She is the least offensive legend in the game. I love offensive legends, my main is an offensive legend. And at least some legends have some offensive capabilities. I think Watson has barely any. I mean, like, her tactical ability allows her to put down fences, which isn't that really offensive. Nice little pun there. It isn't that really offensive, it's just more for camping. Her ultimate ability allows her to put it down in one spot, by the way, and it blocks grenades, Bangalore ults, Gibby ults, and it's pretty good, but once again, not that offensive. And her passive ability allows her to get her ultimate right away with ultimate accelerants. But she's low on the list because she's not that practical. Her fences can easily be broken and avoided. Her ultimate, while useful, I mean, like, it's just really for standing still and not preventing grenade spam, and maybe used once in an offensive offensive time where someone throws down a Gibby ult or Bangalore ult. Her passive relies on her ultimate being good, which I hate that kind of passive. I do not like that kind of passive. And all these reasons are why Watson is C tier. If you like her, that's great, but she's probably my least favorite legend in Apex Legends. Yeah.
The last legend in C tier is Lifeline.
So Lifeline has had quite the journey. She used to be at the top of top tiers, then she was near the bottom, and then she was somewhere in the middle. I still think she's a little bit near the bottom. Her tactical ability, the health drum, gives you health. It's like, it gives health to all your teammates, but it's like the same thing as a syringe or a medkit. You can just get the same results for a medkit. I think that her health drone should also heal shields, which would be pretty good. I think her health drone is just a little overrated ability. Her passive ability is pretty good. She drops a shield and revives teammates instantly. Not instantly. It just allows her to still shoot, and just like her health drone revives the teammates instead of her herself revive the teammates. Her ultimate ability drops down a care package, which is pretty good. It gives you some pretty good abilities, but I just don't think her tactical ability is that good, and it's almost borderline useless. If that makes you mad, then don't dislike the video. Just leave the video and just find another tier list that you enjoy. But I just think Lifeline is a little overrated and outclassed by another legend that we will see later in this list. And yeah, she is pretty good, but she's also probably my second least favorite legend because she's also not very offensive, kind of like Watson. But she is okay. She's an okay legend, definitely usable, but not the best in my opinion.
Now we have B tier. B tier are reserved for legends that are good in a lot of scenarios, but are slightly outclassed or need buffs, and then they could be A tier. First up is Rampart.
Rampart used to be the worst legend in Apex Legends. In fact, some people may consider her still to be, but her recent buffs have, in my opinion, made her climb up the list quite a bit, especially her buff in Season 12, where she was allowed to literally carry her mounted machine gun as if it were a regular gun. That is like super broken. And it is a very powerful weapon. They may need to nerf the weapon, but seeing that she's in B tier, I still think she needs like a slight buff to maybe her passive ability, because her passive ability allows her to reload faster LMGs and have more ammo in their magazine size, which it's another one of those abilities where it's reliant on a weapon or an item, and I don't like that. I think that her passive ability should work for other weapons like snipers. Like, I feel like snipers would work very well for her tactical ability, which is amped cover, which basically you put down the cover and one side allows you to shoot through it and it deals more damage, and then another side cannot be shot through. It does have health, and it may be a little bit outclassed by like Gibby's bubble, but it's still a pretty good poking tool, which is why I think she would be perfect for snipers. Also, they should add the ability where like LMGs also fire faster, which might be a little bit broken on some of the weapons, but just test it. Just test it. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. I think Rampart is in a good spot where she is right now, and probably the most underrated legend in Apex Legends. She's like probably in my top 3 favorites too. Yeah.
Next up is Pathfinder.
How can you not love Pathfinder? Pathfinder is one of the only robots in existence that has a heart. Pathfinder is such a good character, but as his abilities go, they are pretty average, I'd say. Mobility-wise, he is probably one of the best in the game. So why is he in B tier? I feel like other legends do have better rotating abilities. For example, Valkyrie. She can literally launch her teammates into the air, while Pathfinder's ultimate zipline gun deploys the zipline, which allows him to fly about like a little bit not as far, much slower, and you're way easier of a target, like way easier. His tactical ability is definitely really good. It's simply a grappling hook. That's all I need to say. You're like Spider-Man. One of the things that really brings him down to B tier, his lack of a passive ability. I mean, like, seriously. I mean, like, he used to have a passive ability, which was pretty broken, but now it's basically given to all other recon legends, which are basically much better than Pathfinder. In my opinion, Pathfinder should be switched to an offensive legend instead of a recon legend. I mean, like, probably the closest thing he has to a passive is that when he scans a recon beacon, it gives him his ultimate ability back, but that's barely a passive. I want Pathfinder to get a better passive, a new passive. I don't know what, I don't have many ideas, but I still think Pathfinder is a very good legend. But the lack of passive really brings him down to B tier.
Could be controversial, but I'm putting Horizon in B tier.
So I do find Horizon to be a little bit overrated in Apex Legends. While I do think her kit is pretty impressive, as she's still up in B tier, I do think that it really comes down to timing, which is very important in this game, and I think is especially important in Horizon's kit. Now, her passive ability doesn't really need timing, it just happens when you're falling. You allow for more control in the air, and when you land, you have less impact, so you can just land and then start shooting. Her tactical ability is decent. I mean, it just allows her to lift her up like quite a bit, but I mean, you can do that with Valkyrie as her passive and Octane, but go fast. I mean, it is a tactical, unlike Octane, and with Octane you can go like far, but it just allows you to get the high ground. I think there are better legend abilities to get the high ground. Now, her ultimate is pretty good, which creates a black hole and all enemies get sucked into it. And I mean, it does take a little bit while to like let out, so you can like run away pretty easily. But it's not that impressive. I mean, her tactical ability definitely holds her down. I think if her tactical ability were faster, I think she would be A tier. But as she sits right now, she's pretty balanced, but just needs a slight buff to be up in A tier.
Next, we have Loba.
So Loba is a really weird legend in my opinion. Her passive ability is kind of useful in the beginning. I mean, like, if you see a purple armor through walls, I mean, that's kind of useful, or a gold armor, but I mean, you're half the time you're not really gonna see something you want. Like, you're gonna see hop-ups, and it's not really gonna be something that you're gonna want. Some people have claimed this passive to be useless. I don't think it's that bad, but it could definitely be better. Her tactical is decent. I mean, it allows her to teleport a big distance, but it's kind of slow. And it's not really that it's not really that powerful. But I mean, like, it can lead to some good plays, and it can lead to some I don't know, insane escapes. But once again, it is slow. The power's there, just could be faster. Her ultimate ability is also pretty good. It allows her to throw down something, and she can steal or see whatever loot is in the area. And it can be used as a shield and cover, but you're rarely going to use it for that. But she is pretty good. I'd say she is a fairly balanced legend in B tier, but I think she could use some slight buffs just to make her a bit better. And she could be A tier, and that she was pretty good in season 5, but now I don't know, I think she's decent.
Next up, we have Caustic.
Caustic is another campy legend, just like Watson. But unlike Watson, I find him a bit more fun to play because I feel like his gas grenade is a lot more offensive than most of Watson's abilities. So basically, once again, his passive relies on his ultimate and tactical being good, and they are pretty good. His passive allows him to breathe through his own Nox gas and see through it as well, which is pretty good, especially against other Caustics. Now that's pretty good. His tactical places gas traps, and basically when an enemy steps near it, it activates, dealing damage. And then his Nox gas grenade is basically that, but much bigger. And so you can set up like a very cool, like campy strat to with these traps, which is why he's called the Camp King. I mean, that's his nickname, and it has been for quite a while. But why I think he's so low on the list is that his ultimate and passive are tactical are very similar. Like his gas grenade is a bigger trap. It's just bigger. I think it should deal like a little bit more damage than his tactical. Maybe that'll make it too overpowered, but maybe not. Who knows? Also, his passive is a bit underpowered in my opinion. But other than those two gripes, I think Caustic is once again a very decent legend to use. And if you like him, then that's good.
Our final legend in B tier is Seer.
I was this close to putting Seer into A tier. Seer is definitely a good legend. I think with the slightest of slight buffs, he could be in A tier. My problem is that his abilities are good if used right. It's just that his tactical ability, which is a lot like Bloodhound's ability, but it's much thinner, and so enemies can more easily dodge it, which is why I think he should be in B tier. His ultimate is definitely good, but like Horizon's ultimate, it requires timing, and also Seer's abilities are very loud, which can definitely attract some more third parties, and his ultimate especially is really big, which will attract even more third parties, which is definitely never good in Apex Legends. You do not want to be third partied. His passive is okay. I mean, I guess you could like scope into a building to see if enemies are in there, but I rarely ever use it when playing Seer. I will say he is one of the best legends in Control and maybe Arenas, but in Control he is so good. I was so close to putting him in A tier, but I think with the slightest buff, like maybe making his abilities less loud, or making his tactical a bit more expanded, or maybe even having more range on his passive, and only doing one or two of these at a time, not all three. Maybe a bit too overpowered at that point once again, but I still think Seer is a good legend. I think with the right buff, he can be A tier. Okay, so before we move on to A tier and S tier, I want you guys to do me a very quick favor. I want you to consider giving this video a like and the channel a subscribe, as that will be very most appreciated, and you will become an awesome person. Yes, that is the best I could come up with. Yeah. Well, just please hit that like button and hit that subscribe button. I will very much appreciate it if you do, and you will make my day. And maybe make your own day, as you will see more of my videos, and maybe hit the like button on those videos as well. Let's just move on to A tier.
So now we have A tier. A tier are reserved for legends that are perfect. Not every legend is perfect, but these legends can be as perfect as they are. They don't need buffs and they don't need nerfs. They are just perfect where they are. They are good, but not OP, and that is how every legend should be. Starting off A tier is the newest legend, Mad Maggie.
Mad Maggie is the newest legend that just came out in Season 12. And I must say, she is a very good legend and a very great addition to the Apex Legends game. But what does she do? She has 2 passives. Yeah, Pathfinder doesn't even have 1. Her first passive allows her to see people for probably 2 seconds. She allows her to see people for 2 seconds after they have been shot by her, which is pretty good. Her second passive allows her to run faster with shotguns. And I must say, shotguns in this medal are pretty good. And I normally don't like passives or abilities that are reliant on like items or guns. But since shotguns are pretty good, it's definitely good for Mad Maggie. And also her other passive definitely helps with that. Her second passive allows her to shoot a riot drill through a wall and deal damage to other players from across the wall. It's a great breaching tool and can definitely allow people to remove themselves from their cover. Fun fact, you can actually attach the riot drill to a crypto drone and just have a flying drill. It's super hilarious. Her third and final ability, her ultimate ability, allows her to throw a wrecking ball that explodes on impact with enemies and leaves down speed pads for you to run over and gain speed. Definitely a bunch of random, I must say, there are a bunch of random abilities just crumbled together into one legend, but they are a good set of abilities and a good legend added into Apex Legends.
Coming up next is Revenant.
Revenant is a very scary legend, but a good one at that. His passive ability allows him to crouch walk quicker and climb higher. Not crazy, I feel like they should be higher and walk faster, but once again, he's an A tier. What are his other abilities? His tactical ability allows him to shoot a ball that deals 10 damage while also eliminating the ability for other legends to use their own abilities. So legends like Wraith, Octane, or Pathfinder can't run away from you, and other legends like Bloodhound can't sense where you are in the other area. So it's a very effective ability. And even if you miss, they can still run into it afterwards. Still taking the damage and still taking the tolls. And you can shoot 2 at a time. Plus, his ultimate ability allows him to throw down a totem and allows you to gain even more health. And also, when you die, in quotation marks, you come back to the totem with not full health, but enough health for you to heal and then get back in the fight. You can use this on high ground to push the enemy team, deal as much damage to them as you can, and then when you die, you go back to the totem and still remain on the high ground. It's a very effective tool. It's a very good kit. Minus the pass ability, maybe they can buff that, but his other abilities definitely make up for it, which is why I think he should be put in A tier. He is a really good legend for sure.
Then we have Ashe.
Ashe is a really good legend, but she's definitely deserving of A tier, as I feel like her ultimate ability is just a worse Wraith ability, although it is faster. Her tactical ability is very good mid-fight, as you can throw down a knife, and when enemies enter the knife's area, they will be confined to that one area for a decent bit. And this is really good, which means they can only stay still and you can shoot them from the distance, but some other legends do this ability too, but it's still a very good ability. Her passive ability is like really good. You find the death box, you throw a knife, you can find the death box, you can find the killers of whoever killed those people with the death boxes. It's very good, especially when the enemies are very close by. When the enemies are far, it's like pretty good, but when the enemies are close by, it can definitely save your life a couple of times. Her ultimate ability allows her to carry her through a one-way portal, once again, a one-way portal. It's very fast, it's instant, and you can definitely get onto the high ground if you find yourself lucky. But it is only one way, and I feel like this ultimate ability is a good transition into our next legend.
That legend is Wraith.
So Wraith has been at the top of the Apex Legends tier list for quite a while now. She was once like the best of the best. There was no other legend like her. And I don't think you can nerf her enough to actually be bad. But she is now an A tier. Her tactical ability allows her to travel 2 seconds and become almost invisible. And not take damage. This includes from storm, from bullets, from punches, from a lot of other things. for 2 seconds. That may not sound like a lot, but like I said, like with Bangalore, it can definitely make the difference in a gunfight. Her passive ability allows her to hear voices that warn her of incoming damage, like traps or an enemy is aiming at her. And while this may sound OP, for traps, yes, for aiming at her, it kind of just points out obvious things, but it's still very good for traps and when it is actually useless. Her ultimate ability allows her to create, like Ashe, it creates a portal, but unlike Ashe, you can travel through the portal 2 different ways, and it takes a lot longer to build up the portal. So I'd say that it kind of balances out with Ashe. And this combination of great abilities and a great passive, as well as a small hitbox for her, probably the smallest in the game, but with the small hitbox does come a toll. When she does get hit, it takes a little bit extra damage. It's not that much, but it is extra damage, and extra damage is never good. But with her great abilities and small hitbox, she is definitely an A-tier legend.
Octane is our next
So
legend.
I would definitely say that Octane is my favorite legend in Apex Legends. His kit is all about going fast, and it is definitely fitting for him. He is quite the crazy person. His tactical ability is as simple as ever. He injects something into himself and allows him to go very much so faster. In fact, this ability makes him the fastest person in the game. So it's pretty good. Better than what's added to that is that comes back 2 seconds later, so you could just keep on using it. I know, right? It sounds super OP. There's gotta be a kicker. Yes, there is a kicker. Using it takes away quite a big chunk of health. So yeah, there's that. His passive ability allows him to heal over time, not by crazy amounts, but still very good, and the slightest bit of health that you leave behind because you can't use another syringe to heal it can definitely make the difference in a gunfight. His ultimate ability, the launch pad, allows him to throw down a launch pad and have him and his team launch high into the air or across very far distances. When you slide into it, it allows you to go far distances. When you jump into it, it allows you to go a bit higher. So, and you can also double jump in here. Although the jump pad is loud, so there is the kicker to that. But I feel like Octane is a very balanced legend. He's definitely my favorite, probably the most offensive legend in the entire game, and he has been at the top, and he has been at A tier for quite the long while in Apex Legends. He is an awesome legend. I highly recommend you try him out.
The final legend in A tier is Crypto.
Crypto is definitely one of the better legends in Apex Legends, which is why he is the last legend in A tier. His drone you can throw at 10 meters in front of you, which can act like sort of a mini scan. You can of course take control of it and drone the area and see if you can find any enemies. But there are also big banners of like kill leaders or last champions in the area. And when you're in drone and look at these, you can see how many squads are in your area, which is pretty good. His drone is basically the epitome of his entire kit. His tactical ability allows his teammates to also see what he sees in the drone, which is also pretty good because it allows his teammates to see what the Crypto sees and can definitely lead to some powerful plays. His drone is pretty much his whole ability, his whole kit. His ultimate ability allows him to send an EMP, which deals quite a bit of damage, there were some exploits in the past, like taking off your armor right before the EMP won't damage your armor. This time it does not do that. It also doesn't damage your teammates, so you can also do that. But it does damage you if you are close enough to the EMP, so look out for that. However, all these abilities would put in a mess tier, but the reason why he's in A tier is because once his drone is destroyed, he is basically useless. He cannot do anything. His whole kit relies on his single drone, and his drone is a good ability to have. But the reason why he's not in S tier is once again because his drone requires his whole ability set. So yeah.
We've made it to S tier. S tier are legends that feel like must picks and definitely need nerfs in the future. Starting off S tier, we have Valkyrie.
So Valkyrie is the first of our S tier broken legends. So her passive ability is a jetpack. Super simple. Has fuel, but it's a lot of fuel, and you may move slowly, but it's still a very cool jetpack. And she technically has another one. While skydiving, she can scan enemies, which is once again really, really good. But this kind of pairs with her ultimate ability. And I say it's kind of like passive ability because you can also use it while on jump towers, and when you jump from the dropship, it scans enemies, so you can get the jump on some enemies if you can, which is a really good tool. Her ultimate ability allows her to go into the sky, and basically it's like the best rotating tool, and it allows you to reposition much, much quicker. Maybe get you on the high ground in a fight, maybe get you a quick escape. It's not terribly quick, but it is pretty quick and can definitely give you an escape. And when the zone's coming, you can just get out of the zone. It's very cool. You can scan enemies while you're in the air as well. And her tactical ability shoots missiles. Super simple. Once again, she may be a simple legend, but oh my gosh, she is super, super good. These missiles also do a crap ton of damage, and they're very fast too. They're like Gibby's ultimate, but they're so much faster. Although they do a little bit more damage, a little bit less damage. Sorry, but still a great legend, very good, fitting for S tier. A good nerf, I would say, is maybe like reduce the amount of missiles, but other than that, a good legend.
At the runner-up spot, we have Bloodhound.
In my opinion, if you are new to Apex, I recommend you first try out Bloodhound because he is easy to use and is really, really, really good, which is why he is in S tier. His tactical ability allows you to find tracks of enemy players, but not just tracks, like where they have been. You can also ping them to alert your teammates. You can also find when enemies have died, when they landed, when they were downed, and a lot of other things too. And that's probably his worst ability. Still good. His tactical ability allows him to scan through walls to see where enemies are for a couple of seconds. Once again, a couple of seconds in this game, as you probably have seen earlier in this video, can mean a lot. And it is super good ability. And I freaking love it. But none of them compare to his ultimate ability. His ultimate ability allows him to move faster. Everything goes black and white. Enemies and their footsteps are highlighted in red. He can see where enemies have moved, where they were downed, where they have died. He can't see through walls, but every 6 seconds he can use his tactical ability to scan through walls. And when he scans them, he still sees them as moving. They aren't just still images that he sees. This ultimate ability is definitely what propels him to S tier. If it was just his regular ultimate ability, he'd probably be in low A tier or maybe even B tier. But his ultimate ability is so good that he definitely deserves an S tier. What could possibly be better than all of that?
I am right. What could possibly be better than all of that? Well, at the top of S tier, the best legend in the entire game, in my opinion, is Gibraltar.
6 tiers. Technically 5 because F tier doesn't exist. 20 legends. Why is Gibraltar the best? All of his abilities are just so good. His passive ability. He deploys a shield when you're aiming down sights. He deploys a arm shield that protects his whole upper half, which is where most damage is dealt. The shield has a health bar, but it is very long. And once again, I've been saying this all video, it can make the difference in a gunfight. A couple of seconds can make a huge difference in a gunfight. It's crazy. His ultimate ability, it's simple. It calls down an artillery strike, and it is definitely the best airstrike in the entire game. It's better than Bangalore's, and it's better than Valkyrie's missiles. It is so unbelievably powerful. It can alert where you are, but you can just take them because you are Gibraltar. But what is his tactical ability? His tactical ability is only the best ability in the entire game. And you guys wouldn't probably know what it is if you've played Apex. It is the bubble. Basically, it's a giant dome shield that you throw down And it's just so unbelievable. You heal faster in the bubble. You revive faster as Gibraltar in the bubble, basically making Lifeline obsolete. And she was obsolete for quite some time. Above that, you have the Fortified ability, which basically makes you take less damage. His bubble is so OP. You just, if you're in a bad situation, you just throw down a bubble. If you're just freaking under fire from a distance, throw down the bubble. It doesn't even have a health bar. It's infinite. It just goes on forever. It does have a time limit, but still, to nerf him, just make the bubble have a health bar and maybe remove one of its abilities, like the fast healing. It may be a bit much to bring him down to B tier, but still, Gibraltar is OP, and he has been at the top of S tier for so many seasons now. Why doesn't Respawn just nerf him? It's just 2 minutes of this segment. That's how good Gibraltar is. He's just a good legend. But with that all being said, that is our tier list. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I hope you guys enjoy my content. If you want, be sure to subscribe, hit the like button, hit the bell notification button. Also, comment down below how many times my shirt changed. My shirt did change a couple times during this video. Comment down below how many times you think it changed. But with that, guys, I will see you in the next video. Oh my gosh, this video was so long. But I'll see you in the next video. Peace.